was the offseason for you?
It was great. Having another year within the system, working with Coach Lynn and the rest of the staff, just having an opportunity for a lot of familiar faces to be back in the secondary, then adding some new pieces and, being able to coach and develop those guys. And really on a personal level, it's so much different now, knowing what these guys like, what they don't like, major strengths and weaknesses after coaching them for a season. So it's been awesome.
How much does that help having D'Anton Lynn back again for another season?
Oh, it helps tremendously. Obviously, Coach Lynn's one of the best in the business, just the way that he works and sets the tempo from a day-to-day basis. And then I think the players and the coaching staff are much more comfortable understanding exactly what he wants to do and how he wants to do it, and really why it's important to do it that way, focusing on the details within the scheme, not so much the big picture all the time. I think it's going to pay tremendous dividends for our guys.
I've seen you since the spring. How's the last few months been with working with the team and getting ready for fall camp?
Well, it's been good because we added a couple guys late, and then getting early enrollee guys in, and then filling the full team, the guys and the freshmen who weren't here on the early enroll process in the spring. So just kind of meshing as a team, new strength coach, a couple new position coaches that weren't here last year. So it's been awesome for us to spend time together, get to know each other, and then really invest in our players.
How have the new guys been? What's impressed you so far?
As far as coaches or players?
You go about the players first.
I mean, if you've ever met anybody, you hadn't met anybody until you met Rob Bryant. Right? Every day is different. I've learned something different from him. He's got tremendous stories, but always has a great message, great energy every day. So it's been really fun to get to know him and work with him. And then Coach Reed being, part of the secondary along with myself has been really awesome from, his energy to, some things that he had as a player to really invest and pouring into our guys. It's been really fun.
Obviously, the defense made some huge strides from the year prior last year. From last year to this year, where do you feel like the unit has made its strides this time around, and your unit as well?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing that we focus on is, the discipline that we play with, how we attack each and every day. But I think from an intelligence level, we have a lot of smart football players in the secondary. Everybody keys on, obviously, Kamari and all the things that he's been able to do. But the versatility of a Prophet Brown, adding a Bishop Fitzgerald, Christian Pierce is really grown within his role. And then you look at Kennedy Urlacher that came in at safety, and we put a lot on those guys as far as communication and lining up the defense. And then, a lot of competition at corner. And so a lot for us to see in training camp as we, get ready to take off on all of those things. So, and then we have a lot of guys that really have meshed together throughout the summer. And then, second year within the scheme, a lot of guys back, and then adding some very talented young guys to the mix. So I think it'll be fun.
We just had the line in here, and Coach Henderson was talking about the added size and how they're pleased with that. What role does adding size or physicality play in terms of your unit that you've seen so far?
Yeah, I mean, for us, it looks a little bit different, all these big single-digit numbers. And, at the end of the day, the best coverage is a good pass rush. And so once we tie those things together, I think it'll pay tremendous dividends. And, I think it just, the more depth that you have, it gives you a chance to consistently win. But the more depth that you have, it also creates more competition. So we want to be a competitive unit, and we want to find guys that really invest in what we're trying to do. And I think the competition at position, along with the experience that people have within Coach Lynn's scheme going into the second year, is really the key for us right now.
Along those lines, with working with Trumain Carroll, how has that been, and how's that helped your room?
I think they seem so much more confident. We were with them all of June, and we go on vacation, and we come back, and like we're in the lobby just now, and they're talking about who's got the biggest biceps, who's the strongest, who's the fastest. So I think he's instilled a level of discipline at a new level. I had heard a lot about him for a long time. He's from Houston and have a lot of common friends, but just to see him and his staff work has been really awesome. And our guys are seeing bigger and stronger and faster than ever. But I think mental toughness is something that's showing up and breeds confidence within them too, and I think that's coming from downstairs as well.
Hey, Coach, at a Big Ten Media Day, Coach Raleigh mentioned Prophet Brown and how he's kind of coming to his own. You always mentioned how he was such a leader. Can you speak on him and how his, extra maturity now in that room and how he's just become such a vital leader and potential starter?
Yeah, Prophet's awesome. Like as a person, as a player, very selfless, has position versatility, can play every position in the secondary, and he's kind of, bought his time, and whatever his role is, he's always tried to maximize it. So he has a lot of respect, from the people in the locker room, and we talk a lot in the secondary about, the greatest respect that you can have is the respect of your peers. And I think that people respect him for the way that he approaches each and every day. And then, he's played nickel, he's played corner, he could play a lot of different positions, and he's really invested into what we're doing on special teams. So, he's one of those guys as a coach that makes you better every day with his intelligence, the questions that he asks, and really sets a lot of examples about how he works. And then he's got a very infectious personality. He always is dancing and has a tremendous energy. But overall, he's just a smart football player that really wants to be a Trojan and has embraced his role here ever since he's been here. So he's awesome.
How do you bring the vision as far as how you guys envision the defense and bringing that together and to be able to obviously it's an ongoing thing, but when you start and obviously with the end goal would be how you guys continue to keep that at the forefront each and every week.
Yeah, I think it goes back to Coach Riley's vision for the program, Coach Lynn's vision for what he wants the defense to be, and then specific for the secondary, we talk about setting the tempo each and every day of practice because we have one of the toughest jobs on the field, but we want to embrace that. We got to play man coverage, we have to tackle, and then we're on mostly all core special teams as well. So we feel like the better the energy that we have, the more physical that we play, the more it's going to spread throughout the team and can be infectious. So we want to be able to set the tempo on a daily basis and be consistent in what we do in our performance, and I think that correlates to production on the field.
Kamari's become a more vocal leader. He said himself that he's been a homebody most of his life. Did you have to do anything to kind of pull that out of him or like coach him to do that at all, or is that all like intrinsic?
Yeah, he's like Kamari's very unique in his approach because he's one of the most attentive, most intelligent guys that I've ever been around in football, from a player to a coach. And so sometimes he may not say much, but he's listening to everything. If you look at his notes, I mean, he could go up there and coach meetings if he had to. But the challenge to him is we just give him different goals and things that he does, because sometimes he may not say something, but when he does, the respect that he has from his peers, from the way that he works to the way that he approaches football, the level of intelligence, that he plays with. So we just challenge him in different ways. He wants to be that. He embraced having a chance to be a captain. And I know at Big Ten Media Day he talked about having an opportunity to lead, and he's really embraced coming back to school for another year, not in the NFL draft. And I think some of those small details as far as some technique stuff on defense and being a vocal leader and a leader by example and really coming into his own in that area, I think it'll pay dividends for our team based off of, one, the type of player he is and the type of person, but being a safety in this defense, you have to be able to communicate at a high level. Last year, Akili Arnold did an awesome job at that along with Kamari, and then roll in a veteran guy like Bryson Shaw in, who had a lot of game experience as well, and so we put a lot of onus on him to really show that part of him, and then a lot of his goals and aspirations and things that he wants to do, he has to show that he could do that and quarterback the defense and some of those things. So we'll continue to challenge him in some of those areas, and a lot of things for growth that we talk about a lot. To really grow, you have to be able to get out of your comfort zone a little bit, come out of that shell, and he's done a really good job of doing that over the spring and the summer.
So when you ask him to do those things, is it like one-on-one meetings? Like, do you recommend like books he read, or?
Some of those things, but some of them I'll keep between us. But the biggest thing is one-on-one challenging him, and then there's times in the meeting room where I'll ask a question so that he has to respond in front of everybody, because he prides himself on being very detailed and doing things right. So you got to find your spots to be able to really press him, coach him in different ways, and really for me sometimes it's changing my leadership style, to make the players communicate more within the meeting room. So challenging him in different ways, and he always responds to the challenge. The biggest thing is that he has to do it when nobody is in it. Player-led meetings and encouraging guys, positive reinforcement, all of those different things.
You expect him to be the green dot again?
I would be shocked if he wasn't, but that's a question for Coach Lynn.
Okay.
How much does it help maybe push him out of his comfort zone a little bit, having DJ around someone who knows him as well as he does?
Yeah, it's funny for me because me and Kamari have a great relationship and very unique. So I think I get a little bit more of his personality, than most people do. But when it's ball, he's business. And he's locked in at another level consistently, and I think that's really what helps him play fast and make plays on the ball with instincts. But DJ being here, I think has shown a lot of people a lot of different things with Kamari. They're so close; they're almost like brothers. They're family. They're parents are best friends. They're very close. So I think it's just a consistency thing for him, and I think he's gotten to know us better as coaches. Obviously, he played for Coach Lynn previously, and I think the expectation that people have for him, I think he wants to really not do it for the people outside of the building, but really be a great example for his teammates. So he's open to it, and as he grows and he continues to mature, he's young for his age. Last year going into the season, he was 19 years old. And so I think people often forget that he's not even 21 years old yet. So I think he'll continue to show those things and, play with a lot of passion. And like I said, he's approached coming back to this team like a professional. And he's already a pro, and he's so mature in everything that he does. It's just for him, just continue to, work on those little things. And we often talk about, working on, developing your weaknesses and maximizing your strengths. So I don't want him to get too far away from what's made him really good and a great player up to this point, and a good leader, just in a different way than maybe an Achilles or one of those guys that were on the team last year. And Greedy Vance never stopped talking, and that's what made him great. And then so now it's just the little things and some small details here and there that we want to build. So we'll work on those things as we continue to go forward.
I'm going to jump in real quick. We're going to swap them over.